If you had to describe it in one line, what does a healthy Indonesian-Australia corridor look like right now?
I think the best way to describe a healthy corridor between Australia and Indonesia would be collaborative, aligned with the needs of the market. And so being open-minded and willing to question not only your product market fit, but your approach to the market, I think is really critical. Someone said to me recently, standing on the shoulders of giants. So rather than trying to start everything from scratch, learn from what others have done, stand on their shoulders and build from that rather than making it harder on yourself. Yes. I can talk about others if you like.
So with the global investment are like slowing down, do Australian investors still see Indonesia as a promising market?
How do you access those networks? If you're not networked into a new market, how can you be?
Hello everyone, welcome to Coffee and Capital, a podcast by Mandiri Capital Indonesia. I'm Safira, your host for this special episode. In this podcast, we explore the world of startups, investment, and also innovation from a down-to-earth perspective, chatting with founders, innovators, and also ecosystem builder. And on this episode, we're going to dive into the Indonesian-Australian corridor, how founders and investors from both sides of the countries can turn program and goodwill into a real pilots, partnership, and also capital. So joining me today, Lauren Adams, the Australian Trade Investment Commissioner at Austrade. Welcome, Lauren.
Thank you, Safira.
Okay, so Lauren, let's start with a quick introduction. Can you share a bit about your role in Austrade?
Sure. So my name is Lauren Adams. I'm one of the Australian Trade and Investment Commissioners based in Jakarta in Indonesia. My role within the Australian Trade and Investment Commission is to support Australian businesses wanting to expand internationally, specifically in Indonesia. I manage our work across the technology sector, healthcare, and agribusiness. I also manage Austrade's support for Australian businesses in technology across Southeast Asia, including our Southeast Asia landing pad program.
Okay, I see. And what does your day-to-day look like working with founders and also investors across both countries?
One of the great things about working at the Australian Trade and Investment Commission, but also as part of the Australian Embassy in Jakarta, which, by the way, is our biggest embassy in the world.
Oh, really?
Really.
Oh.
No 2 days are the same. But our work at Austrade is really focused on supporting business and exporters to understand the market opportunities available to them, but also how to calibrate their products and solutions to fit the market and the opportunities. So our day-to-day, working with my team here in Jakarta or around the region, is about supporting those businesses to navigate the market opportunity, but then, helping them to find the right kinds of partners, customers, giving them advice and guidance so that ultimately they can convert those opportunities into commercial deals for their business, and we can see greater commercial engagement between Australia and Indonesia.
I see, that's great. If you had to describe it in one line, what does a healthy Indonesian-Australia corridor look like right now?
I think the best way to describe a healthy corridor between Australia and Indonesia would be collaborative.
Collaborative.
So building bridges for two-way exchange for startups, investors, and innovators, but also skills and knowledge and experience, and using the corridor to create that two-way exchange is really important.
Yeah. Do you see momentum picking up compared to like a few years back?
Absolutely. And I think a big focus of ours at the Australian Trade and Investment Commission is really about supporting growth in two-way trade and investment between Australia and Southeast Asia, but also as part of that with Indonesia. And a big focus of my work is how we do that in the technology space. Yeah. Part of our work led to establishment last year, 2024, of expanded Southeast Asia landing pad program. Yeah. So we now have a dedicated Australia technology landing pad program for Indonesia.
Oh, okay.
And the work that we're doing through that program, as well as more broadly as the Australian government, is really helping to strengthen the foundations and the integration between our two ecosystems.
I see. And from your vantage point, like which sector are really heating up between Australia and Indonesia right now? Like, is it fintech or maybe climate or maybe something else?
So I won't limit my answer to just tech.
Yeah,
it's tempting to do so because a lot of my time does focus on our work in the technology sector. But I think as Indonesia's economy continues to grow, so will opportunities for greater commercial engagement with Australia across agribusiness, food, healthcare, technology, education, energy, the green economy.
Yeah.
Some areas where we've seen really promising growth in the last couple of years, healthcare in particular. We've seen really strong momentum from Australian hospital providers who are setting up partnerships here in Indonesia to specialist providers like Icon Cancer Centre set up with Bali International Hospital, all the way through to digital health. We had a very exciting digital health cohort come to Jakarta as part of the landing pad program in May. And there's some really promising opportunities and partnerships that are coming out of that program. And I think
that's great.
I'm very optimistic about the future for our partnerships in healthcare. I can talk about others if you like. But
yeah, but like healthcare is like the biggest like sector.
Healthcare is one of the biggest, but I mean, you mentioned fintech and tech. This is an area where we've invested a lot of time and effort in growing awareness of the Australian technology capability. And I think we're now at the precipice of really having stronger awareness of Australia's technology capabilities. And, you know, that ranges across fintech to cybersecurity and data governance, but also the mechanisms and enablers that go underneath that, like skills and education for cybersecurity.
Okay.
We've also got some really cool AI-enabled technologies coming out and some pioneering companies entering Southeast Asia. That's really exciting.
Yeah, that's exciting. Yeah, looking forward to hearing news from new startups here. And you already mentioned several programs like your landing pad. Maybe you could share some specific programs like Austrade currently offers for startups who are looking for international expansion, especially like for between Indonesia and Australia.
So from Indonesia to Australia?
Yeah.
So as part of Austrade's mandate, we do support attraction of foreign direct investment. We also work really closely with our state and territory partners who themselves have invested in various initiatives to support those technology scale-ups to enter the Australian market through landing pad programs of their own. So that can provide a bit of a soft landing, access to office space, guidance and advisory and getting set up. I mean, probably not specific programs, but we have, you know, supported a number of Indonesian tech companies to expand to the Australian market. And it's been a pivotal moment, I think, in the relationship to be able to enable those expansions from Traveloka to Privy, Bukalapak. And I'm sure there'll be more to come as well.
Yeah. How about Australian startups like expanding to Indonesia?
So Australian scale-ups expanding to Indonesia, we rely on the landing pad program as providing that foundation and that broader support to help them identify the best pathway for them to market. And in some cases, that's not necessarily setting up a physical presence here in Indonesia. What we find is ensuring that through our networks and our work and guidance that we're able to connect them with the right kinds of partners and enablers here in the market. That being said, companies like Canva, Australia's first ever unicorn, It's huge here in Indonesia.
It's really, really huge.
They have some really pioneering technology sitting behind the platform as well, and it's been exceptional to see the growth that Canva has been able to drive for the platform here in Indonesia, but the impact that as a
They're
technology is having through their partnerships with schools and universities as creative skills for education, the education sector. They've recently signed a MOU with the Ministry of Creative Economy to provide Canva to Indonesia's, I think, 28 million creative workers. So
that's great.
It's quite fundamental what companies like Canva and other Australian companies are supporting here in Indonesia.
I see. That's great. That's great. So from your experience, what should startup really prepare to get the most of the value from the Austrade programs?
So for all of our Austrade programs, or any of the work that Austrade does to support international expansion of Australian companies, it's essential that those companies are export ready. There's a certain amount of homework to assess whether a company is in fact ready to explore international markets. But I think what best positions those companies for success is spending that time up front, understanding the market opportunity, identifying the pathways to market, and what is the ideal go-to-market strategy for their solution. A big part of what we do through the landing pad program, through working with mentors and in-market advisors, is helping Australian businesses to calibrate that, to question assumptions about what the market opportunity actually is, and whether the problem that they're solving for with their solution is actually a problem that exists. Or is the way that they're approaching their business development or their partnership development aligned with the needs of the market. And so being open-minded and willing to question not only your product market fit, but your approach to the market, I think is really critical in ensuring that that success in expanding internationally. And that goes both ways.
Yeah. I see. Okay. You already shared about Bukalapak, Privy, and also Traveloka that have successfully expand to Australian market. Can you share what did they do right for others to learn if they want to start up or expand to Australian market?
So that's probably a question for them. But perhaps more generally, and like I said, it applies whichever way you are looking to expand, and for any market that you're looking to expand into, is understanding the market opportunity, ensuring that you have access to that granular information about market trends. Where are your customers? In Australia, a lot of people don't realize how large Australia is. So depending on your product and who your target customer is, it might make sense to be in Perth, or it might make sense to be in Melbourne. And so being able to understand that, and I think that's where local partners and advisors are really valuable, and mentors as well. So someone said to me recently, standing on the shoulders of giants. So rather than trying to start everything from scratch, learn from what others have done, stand on their shoulders and build from that, rather than making it harder on yourself.
So you guys also give mentors to the startups wanting to explore to the Australian market?
So we do it the other way around through our Austrade programs. But when a business is looking at expanding into Australia, an area that support has been provided in the past is maybe some of those initial introductions to whether it's to advisors or other businesses, to help them to understand and calibrate their potential investment into the market.
I see. When it comes to market entry, like Indonesian founders eyeing for Australia or Australian founders looking at Indonesia, what are the top 2 or 3 the do's and don'ts you would like to highlight?
So I think building on my earlier point, making sure that you've done your homework, you understand who your target customer is and where they are located, understanding who are your champions and enablers. How do you access those networks? If you're not networked into a new market, how can you be?
Yeah.
How do you get into the ecosystem and use or leverage that as a multiplier for your business and your entry into market to get those networks? Another common challenge is you might be very well known in your home market, a household brand. Everyone knows your company's name. That's not necessarily going to be the case when you expand to a new market. And preparing for that reality in how you build out your strategy, because it can impact not only your business development but your ability to hire. And so thinking strategically about your own marketing, branding and positioning yourself in the new market is important as well.
I see. Okay. So Lauren, let's talk about capital. What's the current mood when it comes to cross-border investment between Australia and Indonesia? Like, what signals make investor more willing to lean in? Maybe is it like the traction, governance, or maybe something else?
So I think our view as a government and what's driving a lot of the work that we do is there's significant opportunity for Australian business and investors in Southeast Asia, but also particularly in Indonesia, given the size of the market, the growth trajectory of the economy, the fact that Indonesia is on track to be one of the top 5 economies globally in 2 decades time. And because of that, part of the work that we're doing under our Southeast Asia strategy has included establishing an investment deal team. And that team specifically focused on driving greater institutional and corporate investment between Australia and the region, but also here in Indonesia. I think you ask about, signals and what investors lean into. I think what's always front of mind for any investor or business is the market fit, uncertainty, operational dynamics, and governance. Is always going to be front of mind for any business player, but also other factors like access to skilled talent, relative competitiveness of a new market, but also how it fits within their broader strategy. How does expanding, say, into Indonesia support a greater Southeast Asia play? Can Indonesia be a hub for a particular product? Are there specific comparative advantages here in Indonesia that would benefit that business, and how do you incentivize that?
I see. So do you think investors are now being more cautious, or is there any sectors that they're still very bullish in?
So I think, on my earlier point around healthcare, we've seen a number of large-scale Australian healthcare investors set up here in Indonesia in the last 12 to 18 months. So where the opportunity is right and the capability exists and the motivation and the strategy is aligned, practical investment decisions will play out and be made. I think Indonesia and Australia are really close. It's our closest neighbour. And both of our governments understand the scale of the opportunity between the two markets. And I think private sector investment is a core part of how we build stronger two-way trade and investment partnerships longer term.
I see. So with the global investment are like slowing down, do Australian investors still see Indonesia as a promising market?
I think the fundamentals, as I've just said, of the Indonesian opportunity. They still, stack up. That being said, in uncertain times when there's a bit more global uncertainty on the economic front, people will be more prudent in their risk assessments, in their decision making. And I think that's true for any market. Any prudent investor will look at that long-term risk and balance that against what the opportunity is. But when we look at, on balance, risks, global economic climate versus the opportunities that we see here in Southeast Asia, I think the balance still weighs in favor of the opportunity.
I see. And Lauren, talent is another piece of puzzle, at a high level. What should founders know about telemobility and visa if they're looking across corridor? Like maybe Indonesian government or Australian government have like special treatment for like startups wanting to expand to other region.
It's quite interesting. I think skills mobility is a really important piece of bringing our ecosystems closer together. I often say we do business with those that we know.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So creating opportunities for young professionals to work in the tech ecosystem in Australia and vice versa has huge potential and opportunities and benefits for the work that we're trying to encourage. Under Australia's, the Indonesia-Australia Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, we're actually in a fairly unique position where between Australia and Indonesia there's a bilateral skills exchange that was established. And that allows for cross-border flow of workers between two institutions, two businesses that have an institutional arrangement. It's managed by DFAT and there's information on the embassy website. But something else that's recently been established is an Australian Young Professionals Exchange. And that program's bringing young professionals from Australia to Indonesia to do internships and to immerse themselves in the Indonesia kind of work culture and professional placements. Haven't seen it play out yet, but I think there's a few different programs that are creating these opportunities that are quite promising. I'm a graduate of an Australian government program called a Chichis that meant 20 years ago I was supported to go study at Gajah Mada for a semester.
For a semester.
And now here I am. So,
wow.
I think these programs are really important and that cross-border exchange is incredibly valuable.
I see. Okay, so Lauren, now we're going to play a fun game. So this called This or That. I'm going to give you two options. You have to, answer quickly and maybe give your reasons. Okay.
Can I give a counter option?
No, you have to choose.
No.
Okay, so let's start. The first one, bakso or meat pie?
Meat pie.
Meat pie, okay.
Depends
Australian
if it's bakso
pride.
halus or bakso kasar.
Urat. Okay, second one, Bali or Gold Coast?
Bali.
Bali? Okay, why?
I would say Sumba, but you won't let me.
Okay, the third one, Jakarta traffic jam or Sydney housing rent? Ooh.
Tough one. I guess because I'm living and working in Jakarta. Probably Jakarta traffic jam.
Yeah.
My choice has been made.
Yeah. Because you live here now. Okay. So, number 4. This is related to startups. Bootstrap or venture capital?
I'll say VC.
You say VC, okay, because you're talking to us of VC, yeah. Okay, 4 seasons or sunshine all year long?
So we're talking about hotels for a minute. 4 seasons.
4 seasons, okay. Okay, last one. Do you personally plan everything ahead or go with the flow?
I'd like to say I plan everything ahead, but probably go with the flow. But it's a mix.
A mix between those. Okay, that's good. That was fun. Okay, let's get back to work questions. So Lauren, if I'm a founder today and I want to validate a demand across borders, what are 3 practical moves I can take?
So I'll answer in the context of Australian founders wanting to explore the Indonesian market. Because that's the space that I play in.
Yeah.
I guess reach out to Austrade would be my first piece of advice.
Yeah.
Spend time in market and build out your partner and ecosystem networks of people that you're not necessarily going to be closing deals with them, but they can be advisors and mentors to you as you expand.
Yeah, network is very important in this space. Yeah. And if you have to give just one line of advice for both founders and investors looking across the Indonesian and Australia corridor, what would it be?
Invest in the fundamentals.
Invest in the fundamentals.
Value the importance of ecosystem partnerships And strategic patience.
Strategic patience. Okay, and finally, if you could share one message to young founders or soon-to-be founders that are dreaming to go international, what would it be?
Continue to innovate and inspire in the work that you do. You're innovating for a reason because you've seen that a gap exists, and trust in that once you get the fundamentals right, that you can persevere and have a real impact through the solutions that you're developing.
I see. So keep innovating. Yeah.
Keep innovating.
Okay. So Lauren, before we wrap up, is there any closing statement that you like to leave to our listeners, whether they're founders, investors, or ecosystem builder, about the future of Indonesia-Australia corridor?
I'm really optimistic about the future for our work between Indonesia and Australia in the technology space and building out that corridor. I've seen real strengthening in the foundations and the fundamentals that are enabling and bringing our ecosystems together. So I look forward to getting to know more of the ecosystem here and exploring meaningful, productive and impactful partnerships between Australian and Indonesian businesses.
I see. So thank you, Lauren, for sharing such valuable insight with us today. It's been fascinating looking at the Indonesia-Australia corridors that can build stronger relationship through startups, investment, and also collaboration. And to our listeners, I hope you're living not just with ideas, but with clear steps you can try with your own journey, whether that's exploring new market, building partnership, and getting closer to capital across borders. This has been Coffee and Capital. Don't forget to subscribe and follow us for more honest conversation about the startup ecosystem. I'm Safira. We'll see you on the next episode. Thank you.